I booked the cabin 3 weeks before Christmas. My ex-girlfriend Sarah and I were supposed to spend the holidays together, but she ended things in October. Said she needed space. Said I was too dependent. So I decided to prove her wrong. I'd spend Christmas alone in the mountains, reconnect with myself, maybe even enjoy the solitude. The drive up to the Poconos took 4 hours through increasingly heavy snowfall. The forecast warned of a major storm hitting that night, but I didn't care. I wanted to be snowed in. I wanted to be unreachable. The cabin appeared through the trees just as darkness fell, a beautiful 2-story lodge covered in Christmas lights, with a massive wreath on the front door and illuminated reindeer decorations scattered across the front yard. Inside it looked like a Christmas movie set. A 10-foot tree stood in the corner, covered in ornaments and lights. Stockings hung over a stone fireplace. Garland wrapped around the wooden banisters leading upstairs. On the kitchen counter, I found a handwritten note next to a bottle of red wine. "Welcome. Enjoy this holiday wine as a gift from us. Merry Christmas, David." The Airbnb host's name was Michael, not David. I assumed David was maybe his partner or co-owner. I texted Michael a quick thanks for the wine and started unpacking. The cabin had 3 bedrooms upstairs, a cozy living room with a fireplace, and according to the listing, a basement with a washer and dryer. I didn't bother checking the basement. Who cares about laundry on vacation? I built a fire, turned on the Christmas tree lights, and poured myself a generous glass of the wine. It tasted slightly bitter, but I'm no wine expert. I figured it was just a cheaper brand. I settled onto the couch and turned on the TV, finding a channel playing old Christmas movies. The snow was really coming down outside now, creating this perfect cocoon feeling. This was exactly what I needed. Halfway through the second glass, I started feeling unusually tired. Heavy almost. My eyelids kept drooping. I remember thinking how strange it was. I'd slept well the night before and it was only 9 p.m. The Christmas tree lights started to blur together. The last thing I remember was the crackling of the fire fading into distant static. I woke up in complete darkness. The fire had died. The TV was off. Even the Christmas tree lights were unplugged. I fumbled for my phone and checked the time, 3:47 a.m. My head felt thick and foggy like I was trying to think through cotton. That's when I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps coming from directly above me. From upstairs. My heart started racing, cutting through the fog in my brain. I held my breath and listened. The footsteps moved across the ceiling from one end of the hallway to the other. Then they stopped. I waited in the darkness, phone gripped in my hand, barely breathing. Silence. Complete silence except for the wind howling outside. I turned on my phone's flashlight and immediately wished I hadn't. The beam of light revealed that things had been moved. The wine bottle was now on the coffee table instead of the kitchen counter. My jacket, which I'd hung by the door, was now draped over a chair. Small things. Things that made me question if I'd moved them myself in my drowsy state before passing out. But I knew I hadn't. I forced myself to stand, fighting against the lingering heaviness in my limbs. I needed to check upstairs. Every horror movie instinct in my body screamed not to, but I had to know. I grabbed a fire poker from the fireplace and slowly climbed the stairs, each creak of the wood sounding like a gunshot in the silence. The upstairs hallway was empty. I checked each bedroom, turning on every light, looking in every closet. Nothing. No one. But in the master bedroom, the one I'd chosen to sleep in, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The window was open. Just slightly, maybe 2 inches, but it was definitely open. I knew I hadn't opened it. I checked all the windows when I arrived because of the cold. I slammed it shut and locked it, then checked every other window in the house. All locked. All secure. I went back downstairs and checked the doors. Locked. I was losing my mind. The wine. Something was wrong with the wine. I grabbed the bottle and my phone, then messaged Michael. "Hey, quick question, who's David?" Found a note from him with the wine. The response came faster than I expected for 4 in the morning. "What note? I don't know anyone named David. I'm the only owner. What wine?" My hands started shaking as I typed back. There was a bottle of red wine on the counter with a welcome note signed by David. 3 dots appeared then. "I didn't leave any wine. I'm calling you right now." My phone rang. Michael sounded genuinely confused and concerned. I explained everything, the note, the wine, waking up to footsteps, the moved objects, the open window. He went quiet for a long moment before saying, "Get out of the house. Right now. I'm calling the police." I looked out the window. The snow had piled up at least 2 feet, maybe more. My Jeep was buried. The driveway was completely impassable. "I can't leave," I told him. "I'm snowed in." Then lock yourself in a room and wait for the police. I'm sending them now, but the storm, it might take them a while to get up the mountain. I hung up and immediately went to the front door to double-check the lock. That's when I noticed fresh snow on the floor inside the entryway. A small puddle of melted snow that hadn't been there before. Someone had opened this door recently. I backed away from the door, fire poker still in my hand, and that's when I heard it. From below me. From the basement. A soft thud like something being knocked over. Then another sound. Was that music? Faint Christmas music, muffled, coming from beneath the floor. Every instinct told me not to open that basement door. To wait for the police. To hide. But I needed to know. I needed to understand what was happening. I approached the basement door slowly, pressed my ear against it. Yes, definitely music. Silent night, playing on what sounded like a radio or phone speaker. I opened the door. The smell hit me first, unwashed body odor mixed with damp basement mustiness. The music got louder. I descended the wooden stairs, each step groaning under my weight. At the bottom, I swept my phone's flashlight across the space. The basement had been lived in. Recently. There was a sleeping bag in the corner, surrounded by empty food containers and water bottles. A small camping lantern sat on an overturned crate next to a phone playing Christmas music. But what made my stomach drop was what I saw hanging on the wall: photographs. Multiple photographs of the cabin. Of previous guests. Of me. Photos of me arriving yesterday. Me unloading my car. Me through the window as I sat on the couch. All taken from outside through various windows. Someone had been watching. Behind me a stair creaked. I spun around, shining my light up the stairs. A man stood at the top, silhouetted in the doorway. He was wearing a filthy red Santa hat and a torn winter coat. He didn't say anything. Just stood there, blocking my only exit. "Who are you?" I managed to choke out, raising the fire poker. "David," he said simply, his voice hoarse like he hadn't spoken to anyone in days. "I live here. This is my home." "This isn't your home. You need to leave." He descended one step. Then another. Slowly. "I've been here for 3 months. Living in this basement. Watching the guests come and go. You know what's funny? Nobody ever checks the basement. Not carefully anyway." I backed up against the wall, trapped. "The police are coming. The roads are closed." Another step down. "The police aren't going anywhere in this storm. It's just you and me. Having Christmas together. Isn't that nice? I made you special wine. You drank it. That was polite of you. What did you put in the wine? Just some sleeping pills? I crushed up about 6 of them. Wanted you to sleep deep. I was going to take what I needed and leave before you woke up. But then I heard you moving around upstairs and I thought, maybe it would be nice to have company for Christmas. It gets lonely down here." He was 5 steps from the bottom now. My eyes darted around the basement, looking for another way out. There, a small window near the ceiling, but it was too high and too small to escape through. "I don't want to hurt you," David continued. "I just need money. Medicine. Food. You understand, don't you? Everyone who stays here has so much. I just take a little. Usually they don't even notice." "Usually?" He reached the bottom of the stairs. We were maybe 10 feet apart now. One couple noticed. Last month. They woke up early like you. The man tried to fight me. That didn't end well for him. My grip tightened on the fire poker. "What did you do?" "What I had to do." His hand moved to his pocket and pulled out a knife. "I really hoped you'd stay asleep. I like you. You seem sad. Like me. But you had to go and ruin it." He lunged forward. I swung the fire poker with everything I had, catching him in the shoulder. He screamed and stumbled backward. I didn't wait, I ran up the stairs, taking them 3 at a time. Behind me, I could hear him recovering, climbing after me. I reached the top and slammed the basement door shut, then grabbed a heavy wooden chair and wedged it under the door handle. The door immediately started rattling as David threw himself against it from the other side. "Open this door," he screamed. "This is my home." I ran to the kitchen and grabbed my phone. No signal. The storm must have knocked out the cell tower. I tried the landline, dead. The door continued to shake, the chair holding but barely. I could hear wood beginning to splinter. Then I remembered, the fireplace poker wasn't my only weapon. I ran back to the living room and grabbed the fire extinguisher from next to the hearth. I positioned myself facing the basement door, extinguisher in hand, waiting. The door burst open, the chair flying to the side. David emerged, knife in hand, murder in his eyes. I pulled the pin and sprayed directly into his face. He screamed, clutching his eyes, swinging the knife blindly. I hit him with the extinguisher hard and he went down. I didn't stop to check if he was unconscious. I ran for the front door, threw it open, and plunged into the snow. It was deeper than I thought, up to my knees. The cold bit into me immediately through my thin clothes. Behind me, I heard David roaring in rage from inside the house. I waded through the snow toward where I'd seen a neighbor's light through the trees when I arrived. My Jeep was impossible, buried and blocked in. My only chance was reaching someone else, anyone else. The snow was falling so thick I could barely see 3 feet ahead. My legs burned from pushing through the drifts. I looked back once. David was standing in the doorway of the cabin, lit from behind by the warm Christmas lights, still wearing that obscene Santa hat. He didn't follow me into the storm. He just watched me struggle through the snow, getting smaller and smaller as I pushed forward. I don't know how long I walked. Maybe 20 minutes. Maybe an hour. Time stopped meaning anything. Just cold. Just snow. Just survival. When I finally saw the lights of another cabin, I sobbed with relief. I pounded on their door until an elderly couple answered, terrified at the sight of me half frozen, covered in snow, incoherent. They called the police, wrapped me in blankets, made me hot coffee. By the time the police managed to reach the area the next morning, David was gone. They found the basement, the photos, evidence of someone living there for months. But no David. He'd disappeared into the storm. They also found something else in his belongings, newspaper clippings about missing hikers in the area. 7 people over the past 2 years. All last seen near rental cabins. The couple I mentioned, the ones he said noticed him? They found their bodies 3 weeks later, buried in the woods behind the property. Michael profusely apologized and refunded everything. The cabin was shut down pending investigation. I went back to the city on Christmas Eve, spent the holiday alone in my apartment. Sarah texted me Merry Christmas. I didn't respond. Sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night, convinced I hear footsteps above me. And every time I see someone wearing a Santa hat, even a normal, clean one in a department store, my heart starts racing. I wanted to spend Christmas alone to prove I didn't need anyone. I almost died proving it. David was right about one thing, it does get lonely. But loneliness is better than what I found in that cabin. Some Christmases it's better to stay home. They never found David. The police think he either froze to death in the storm or made it to another cabin, another basement, another victim. Part of me hopes he's dead. But late at night when I can't sleep, I imagine him somewhere out there. Watching. Waiting. Making his special wine for the next guest. Celebrating Christmas the only way he knows how. If you made it this far, hit that like button if you'd never trust a free bottle of wine again. Subscribe for more stories that'll make you think twice about that cozy cabin rental. And drop a comment telling me, would you have drunk the wine?